Since moving to London, my passion for angling has grown more and more each year. But it goes without saying that every now and again it's nice to escape the city rush and enjoy angling in a more peaceful surrounding. Throughout this series, I'll be making my way to a variety of countries, visiting a whole host of venues. From canals and rivers to huge public lakes, I plan to explore them all. For want of a better term, I'm escaping London. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah!
Oh, and I'm in. Oh, coming in live and direct.
That was literally 5 minutes.
Yes. Oh my god. Yeah, that's a good fish, that. That's an upper 30, I reckon. Sure. He's going to be swimming in a minute. It's massive. It's the big one. It's the big one.
How do you know it's the big one? How do you know it's the big one? You know.
Mate, it's the big one.
Hey!
Get in there!
Get it!
Come on! Come on! The first of my Euro trips was pretty spontaneous. Well, it actually wasn't planned at all. Not for me anyway. What I forget to mention is I still don't drive. And although lugging my gear around on the trains is doable, a chauffeur by the name of Henry Lennon sounded much more appealing. He'd planned himself a nice solo trip to France, targeting some big public lakes, and I gatecrashed the party and forced him to let me come. To save Henry the drive into central London and avoid being a total pain in his ass, we decided to meet up at the Nash offices, with the plan being to get a few hours sleep, then leave at the crack of dawn for an early crossing. I was just full of energy, couldn't sleep, so decided to prep all my bait and tackle instead. And with that, we were off. All in, the drive was only around 4 hours, so we hoped to arrive at the first venue by late morning. A quick pit stop for a Mackey's breakfast, 30 minutes kit for Henry, and before we knew it, we were already in Calais. We arrived at the first spot just before lunchtime, but all wasn't quite as planned. At least for Henry anyway.
Ooh, that is annoying. It's like linear, that spot.
So what's happened is, I'm actually quite happy because I wasn't supposed to be coming on this trip, and when I jumped in with Henry last minute, he told me that he was actually driving down here with the intention of fishing a specific spot where a big fish resided in this area around this time of year. So he was going to set up in this spot, and I was just going to have to try and find a good area around that stretch of canal. So we've pulled up here, and there's already someone fishing here. So we've got to go off and find somewhere else, which I'm happy about, because then it's a bit more of an adventure together. But sadly for Henry, you won't be catching that 50-pounder.
I've got to spend more time with you.
You just said you missed me when I was asleep, so make your mind up.
I didn't say I missed you. That's a bit extreme.
Just as we were about to drive off, I noticed a bivvy being packed down in the rearview mirror, so we drove over to double check that they were leaving. What we didn't expect was to see some fellow Brits.
It's a small world.
It looks like the guys from Baitworks had a similar idea to Henry. However, luck was on our side, and they did confirm that they were leaving. So we went for a wander down the stretch whilst they packed up. That's from here?
Stretch below.
Stretch below.
But the average size is bigger in here.
That's an absolute banger, mate.
Sick carp.
I remember seeing that and thinking that is a cheese.
Cheesington. And then there's a couple of coin there as well. Woohoo.
And with that, it was time to get fishing. The stretch itself is only a short one, and with decommissioned locks, the stock is now permanently held. Not only with a good stock of carp, but also ones breaking the 50-pound mark. Of course, Henry was fishing the lock side, whilst I slotted in slightly further down to the left. He wasted no time in finding some firm areas in and around the lock. With fresh water constantly passing from the stretch above, a top lock is often a good holding point for the carp, and it just so happens that the big un is regularly caught in this area. With a few spots found, rigs are on and rods were ready to go out. just nice to have a bit of grass to sit on, isn't it, for one? Not sitting on dirty concrete. It's nice, mate. Really nice.
Dirty London Park Lakes beats that, does it?
Well, the other day I was doing quick overnighters on a park lake, sleeping next to a bench. Now, got the lovely, fresh spring Belgian grass sitting on that, so makes a change, doesn't it? With a pretty similar tactic to Henry, I placed a rig down the far marginal shelf, then used a washing line to avoid my line cutting through the swim. The other 2 rods were lowered in the near margin and down the slightly deeper central track.
Pretty much.
Oh, hello, that looks lovely.
How many calories?
How many calories in that? I'd say 450. What's the verdict, Henry?
Wicks Lake.
He's miles away.
You
So we've had the rods out a couple of hours. The rain's been on and off. I have had a little wander while Henry was having a power nap. Placed a washing line out
Why are you sending
there.
me out like that?
We had a power nap. A well-deserved power nap for the long drive.
Yeah.
I wandered down to the stretch below, put the drone in the air, found some carp on that. I'm not going to fish for them today.
Were they big?
Nah, I reckon £15, 15, potentially a 20 amongst them, nothing massive. And yeah, we're just waiting for sun to set really. I reckon it's going to be night bites, often is on canals to be fair. But in the meantime, there's been a trip that I've been waiting to show you for a long time, where I went to Belgium. I believe it was just as the lockdown eased off, so 2020. And I managed to fluke out one of the biggest fish in the stretches. So
The biggest fish in the stretch.
The biggest fish in the stretch. So whilst me and Henry are waiting for bite time to come along, I'm going to take you back into that session in lockdown. Now this was actually my first ever fishing trip overseas, and I was invited at a carp show by a few lads, and I jumped at the opportunity. We had 4 nights ahead of us, and the plan was to do a few nights on a lake and then head off to the canals. Early on, it proved pretty tricky, although we did manage a few nice ones. We then finally made it to a lovely little canal. Clear, weedy, and of course, home to some big carp. Now out of respect for the locals, I kept the filming to a minimum, but between us, we caught plenty of carp over those few nights, including a few really special ones.
Mate,
That's a monster, mate.
I can't get it in.
Yes! Mate, that's a seriously old carp, mate.
Stay there.
We'd heard rumours of a 40-pounder in the stretch below, so we baited against the lock in the deeper water and cast a rod each over the top. 10 minutes later, both rods had gone, and mine just happened to be that very big un. Sometimes your luck is just in. Get it! That's the big one! Get it! 41 pound.
8 ounces.
8. Oh my god.
Big one.
The big one, mate. Well, after the trip has been really difficult, and honestly I'm lost for words. Like, we found a canal, we got told there was a big one, and to say I'm holding it now is literally the last thing I expected. 41 pound of historical Belgian canal carp.
41 pounds.
Incredible fish. Let's get her back. And with that, it was time to pack up and head back home. Ever since then, I've wanted to return to Belgium. Between me and Henry, I'm just hoping we can make it another session to remember. On that note, the action was beginning to pick up on Henry's lock spot. Look at it all moving, mate. It's moving. Oh, look. It's moving at crosslock.
I've got to go.
Henry's got jacuzzi central over his rod. Well, slightly to the right. Look at it, mate. Now there's loads. There's a lot of fish.
should we go-
Over you as well. Over you, look.
Should we go right in the swim?
Well, I've just got in Henry's head and said I don't think he was fishing, considering he's not had a bite. He's wound it in to redo it, and he's dropped it in a snag. That's why it didn't go, mate. Dropped it straight in that mess. With the rod back out fresh, we enjoyed a lovely evening and hoped a carp would show up on dark. I did go for a little wander on the stretch below with my head torch, but other than a few small ones, it was pretty dead. And sadly, the night turned out to be a quiet one. Upon reeling in, we noticed all of our hook baits had been chewed off.
The hook's gone.
The hook's completely gone.
And there is a turtle over there. It could be the turtle, but it could also be muskrats. I know there's muskrats out here.
We both switched over to plastic hook baits and replaced all of the rods. Within half an hour, the bite we'd been waiting for finally came. Oh my god! What's that? That'll be a bite on the washing line. Where's Henry when I need him? Yeah, I'm in. No way. I'm in. I was literally just sitting in Henry's swim, eating my pasta, and I had a drop back and I thought, oh, nothing. And it was on the washing line and it started absolutely peeling. What? Yeah. Yes. Come on. Come on. With the fish safely in the retainer, I wanted to get the rod straight back out, just in case of another opportunity. But first, I had to quickly top up the bait mix. I was using Scopex squid boilies, whole tigers, and the large seed mix. And this suited the fishing situation perfectly. Pooing out tigers in the sling, Henry.
Oh yeah.
Little bits of
Got the old slush.
little bits of Oh, perfect. That'll go back out.
Should taste the talent in it.
Come on, behave. He's probably going to beat me up. Yeah, thought so. Come on. Do you reckon it's a 20?
Yeah. 20 pounder.
Up a double, scrape a 20. Lovely first fish from this little Belgian canal mission. Sadly, the rest of the day was spent hiding from the rain. Then into dark, Henry got a not so pleasant surprise. A heron!
I ain't going near that. Look at the size of it. Shine a torch on it.
No way.
Jeez.
3, 2, 1. See? Good morning.
It's not a good morning. It's a crap
It's
morning.
good morning on a bad morning. We've moved, well, we're on the move from weird little goby things eating our hook baits, so we weren't fishing the first night, to Henry having a rat chew his hook length in half, to constant
Catching a heron.
Henry had a heron bloody hell, look mate, I can't even speak, fly through his washing line, which he said, I'm not going near that thing. So I then
You were a brave man on that one.
I grabbed the heron at 1 AM in the morning and detangled it. I had then had 2 bream last night, kept getting the rods back out fresh, redid the others that weren't breamed out as well, just to make sure, and we woke up to a blank, and then just to top it all off, to make things better, I went to clean a bucket in the margin, and this is what happened. Mate, I come on here, yeah, to clean my bucket, which is now floating away. I got about 2 steps down, and literally went donk and slid in, and honestly, I fell in backwards, yeah, went all the way down, and then I was sliding down the shelf, and I thought, no, and I was like, Henry, and I was holding on to the bottom of this, yeah, like, crawling away. Before rushing off to the next venue and getting rods out, we stopped off at the stretch below where I'd seen those smaller carp, and we baited a couple of areas to give ourselves an option to come back in the next few days. We then scanned 3 days worth of mackies and then went to check out another canal. Once again, this was just a pre-baiting trip. Although there's always a chance of turning up and finding them, being able to give them bait and return a few days later gives you a massive advantage, especially on stretches where the clarity is poor and finding the fish can be tricky. On this stretch, we decided to go out in the boat to give ourselves the best chance of finding the right spot. Using the deeper, we could see the bottom was pretty uniform, so we'd almost be making a spot with the bait. At the end of the stretch, there was a turning bay with a reed line that looked the perfect holding area. Henry took the right side and I took the left. See, now I'm not going to be as bold and as Henry. I'm going to put out, look at that, you're not going to get any better than that, a mussel with a bloodworm hanging out of it.
Whoa, that is
That's
good
it,
stuff.
that's all I'm putting in on the spot.
Go on.
And that 50 pounder,
I don't think there's 50s in this stretch, but
just go along with it.
okay,
Mate.
yeah.
50 pounder.
Loves mussels and bloodworm.
Yeah, that's
together.
all it'll eat, so it's never been caught, that's the point. And that's all I'm going to put out. And I'm going to put out a hook with a single grain of hemp on the hair. Mate, that bloodworm on it is carpy as hell. That's me done, mate. Right, let's go back to the van.
Let him out. Proper carpfish.
If I'm honest, we were pretty disappointed in the weather throughout this trip, but all we could do is make the most of the time we had. After all, no matter how cold and miserable it was, the carp were awake and at some point had to feed. So we've just left the spot where we went out on the boat. We've come to another bit of canal. Looks absolutely mega. Walked 30 metres up from the van and we've seen one in the shallow margins. This is much clearer. I'm loving it. This is much better, mate. And you've had a couple of 30s out of here, you say?
I've had 2 or 3 30s, I think, and the big one, or one of the biggest I know in the stretch I've had as well. But
Not messing about.
No, you know how we roll. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you mean, yeah?
De se pencher, de faire passer ses mains.
We had a good look around and this time I had first pick. I decided to take the left side where we'd seen that carp close in. With a nice shallow bend just before the bridge, I could almost hand place a trap in the edge. Henry fished slightly further down in the deeper water, a spot that he'd actually caught carp from before. I don't know how, while I've been gone, my rod's not gone off.
Why?
I just walked over there and that one that I washing lined, that exact same fish that we saw when we first got out of the van, was tilted over on the spot and I can't see any bait. And then I thought, oh my god, do I go back to Henry? And I thought, nah, that's bad luck, let me keep going. And I thought I'd come back with you having it in the net, mate. It lifted up, literally went like that, it was like moving its mouth where it had been feeding, and then I think it like saw my shadow.
Whoa.
And it's drifted off and I thought that's going to come back. I kept walking.
Mugged you off, has it?
Properly mugged me, clearly. With nothing to do other than wait, we cooked up some dinner and sat back listening to the amusing chants of the drunk passers-by.
Pune muzică.
În noaptea niciunul nu doarme. Să-l suni pe Mihai. Da.
That'll be a bite. Absolute screamer. Don't know what time it is. Hopefully it's a big one. That's a proper canal carp, that is. Come on. Come on. Buzz in. Come on. Look at the net. Yes. Get in. That'll fucking do it. We needed that. We really needed that. Thank you, thank you.
Bonjour.
C'est une carpe ça.
Bonjour.
Ouais, mais vous l'avez rapporté de la maison, je suis désolée ça.
State of that one. Well, not as prolific as we'd hoped for on this canal. We're not having the best of luck really, me and Henry, especially considering these are venues that he's caught a lot of carp from on previous sessions. But it is still cold, we're a week behind good proper spring weather. I'm just glad that the one bite I did have was a really nice one. Upper 20, can't be far off £30. It came on the middle rod, the one just in deeper water down off that shallow ground. And it was an absolute battle. Buzzing. Next venue, Henry.
Let's do
We're going
it.
to go back to that venue where we went out in the boat and baited. Hopefully, Henry's turn for a big one.
Yeah, well done, mate. Lovely carp.
Cheers, bro. We then headed back to the spot that we'd baited out in the boat, with the hopes that the carp were there waiting for us. It's the first time I've used one of these little Nash boats. Proper nifty little piece of kit. I'm going first, putting one rod just next to that grebe's nest, and then Henry's going to go out after. Henry's so carpy, isn't he? Look at him. You're not going to believe it. I've just dropped that rod out and I said to Henry, I'm not catching. I've dropped it by a grebe's net.
Yeah, you did, didn't you? You said
Yeah,
there's no chance.
There's no chance of catching. He's doing his second rod and beep beep, my rod tip's hooped over and I was literally looking out thinking a grebe's gone through me or something. We're in.
How does it feel?
Feels little, to be fair, mate.
Yeah,
Little mirror.
common.
Yeah.
Common, wasn't it?
I think it's a little fully scaled by looks of it. Well, that's a bloody good sign, mate.
That's a
I've dropped
fantastic
that
sign.
3 minutes ago. Little mirror.
Mirror.
Cool one.
Right, let me go get the net for you.
Yeah.
You're right there.
Look at that's a funny looking carp, isn't it?
Yes!
Mate, the pre-baiting paid off. I reckon big uns tonight on that.
You feeling it, yeah?
Yeah.
Mega one. What a weird carp.
That's definitely like a 2-year-old spawned on natural fish out there, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if they stock them here or not. I
that
don't
might be
think so. So I think that is a spawned on one.
So there's a mirror like that, but £40 in it.
Yeah, they've got some nice scales
Look
on
at the
him.
shape of it, mate. That's a funny little carp, isn't it? I was worried it was a tench when it came up in there. I was like, no, please, I have to give it the big one.
That's probably the first time it's been caught.
Unknown, uncaught.
NBC, never been caught.
NBC. Mad shape. Bite. Probably a bream, innit?
That's a bream bite, baby.
That's a bream if I've ever seen one before. Thankfully, the snotty bream fell off. I then noticed some fizzing down to my left, so with a third rod at the ready, I flicked a few scoops of bait out and then cast a trap in the mouth of the lock.
Spot on.
What's that? That's my lock rod.
Absolute orange peeler. Where is it?
Mate, I was not expecting that.
Me neither, not that rod.
Never right off a lock. Put a rod just here, and it's just peeled off, and weirdly it's ran into the lock. And Henry said it's gone down the waterfall.
I thought it'd gone down that waterfall there.
Mate, if this is a 20-pounder, I'll be baffled.
It's coming up. Come on, please be a 40. They're about here, aren't they?
Can't believe it. Well, I can't believe it. They love locks. They don't say lock. Come on, big cheese. It's massive. It's the big one. It's the big one.
How do you know it's the big one? How do you know it's the big one? You don't
Mate, it's the big one.
You don't even know what the big one looks like.
Carp, mate.
You don't even know what
I've
the
been
big one
told
looks
there's a
like.
40 that's due out, and that's fucking huge, mate. No. It lock trying to do me under here, lock.
Yeah. Careful, mate.
Oh, I can't feel my arm.
Oh.
God, please don't come off. Please.
Oh. Hey!
Get in there!
Go on! My guy.
Yes! I don't know if it is the big one, I got excited.
Yeah.
But it's
I was
definitely.
just saying, you've never seen the big one, but it is
No,
a big
but I
carp.
just got told there's a 40
That's a
pound
big
mirror.
carp, bro.
That's £40. That's a 40-pounder. Yeah.
It's going to be close, isn't he?
Yeah, it's up a 30, 40 pound. It's not big, mate. It's not as big as I thought. It's a hollow carp.
Yeah,
is it?
fair enough. 35 and a half, which is bang on what yours said, wasn't it?
Yeah. Mate, that's a hollow fish.
Slip it back. I ain't taking photos of that.
How big would you say that is looking
I'd
at?
have said that was a 37, 38.
37, 38.
That looks bigger than that 37 I had from England the other week.
It's mad.
I've got some carp cables.
Band-aid.
Yeah.
I've got carp can as well.
Alright, it's not competition.
I've got more. I've got a 100 ml pot. Yeah. That's what we came here for. It's not quite as big as I thought it was. I thought it was a 40-pounder when it rolled. It looked absolutely massive. But it is my second biggest carp from Belgium. And a proper canal carp. I really love canal fishing. See you later, mate.
Merci, au revoir.
Let's slip it back, get some pictures. You never know. There's a fish 10 pound bigger than this in this stretch, so when you look's in, just never know. Once again, the rain moved in, and all we could do was sit back and keep our fingers crossed for a prolific night. I actually, this is probably the most unlucky you've ever been.
I've never had a session like this. Straight up. I don't know what's going on.
As the sun rose, we were both surprised we hadn't caught any more from the baited area. Despite my optimism, the bay hadn't produced a single bite through the night. We were actually discussing packing away when Henry's rod let off a single bleep. If I'm honest, we thought it was a bream for the majority of the fight. Then out of the blue, up surfaces this mega long common, totally unaware it had been hooked.
Yes! Oh, I've needed that so badly. You have no idea.
Oh man.
Yes. Oh my god.
Bro.
That has taken far too long. Oh my god.
We were literally talking about leaving in like an hour and a half.
Oh, it feels good to have caught one. I've spent the past few days watching Jacob haul really nice carp, and I felt a little bit left out. So I'm very, very thankful when this one dropped back, lifted into it. It wasn't a bream, it's definitely a carp. It's a cool one at that. So yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing.
But we're going to go, aren't we? We decided for a
Gonna
move.
go for a little move. Yeah.
To the venue that we baited right at the start of the trip, that nice little clearer canal. So we're hoping to end on multiple takes.
Yeah, that'd be nice. If we've both had all right ones now, let's end on a bit of action, I'd say.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate. You've absolutely made my day on that one.
Upon arriving, we could see that all the bait we'd put out was gone. However, we couldn't see any carp. It's a really clear stretch, and the carp don't really have many places to hide, so we kept moving in the hopes of stumbling across a big group of them. As we approached the last part of the stretch, we were baffled as to where the carp were, questioning the stock levels or whether we'd missed something. Then as we passed over the lock, a bright white koi gave the game away. Henry slowly walked around the other side of the lock and noticed some carp feeding on a shelf at the bottom of an old concrete stairway, so I creeped into position, trying my best not to skyline the spot with my shadow. 3 are coming onto the bar. No. This is incredible. Mate, I'm making a bold statement. That's the carpiest spot I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah, right in the middle, I can see the hook bait. Perfect. Mate, there's 3 fish on it. One's right over you, mate. You're going to get a bite. One is right over you. That one's feeding, look at it, look. Mate, it's so close to your hook bait. Yeah, I think it's picked you up. Oh, I think he spat you out. Henry, look, he shook his head and spooked, look. He just spat you out. He's just spat you out. He's just spat you, mate. He shook his head and swam off. Yeah, another one's coming on top. That's a better fish. 2 fish are feeding on the shelf now. Use it, your line and spooked. Mate, you're gonna get a bite. Yeah, you're in. Yeah, you're in. Yeah. You're in. Mate, I saw it shake its head. That's unbelievable. Mate, try and steer it away from there. Oh. Yeah. Got it?
That was wicked, man.
What a buzz that was, being able to see the carp take the bait on such a cool little spot. It was my turn next, and despite the disturbance, there was still a few carp about. Oh, how the tides turn, Henry.
Yeah.
He's just had one, dropping it in there in 18 foot of water.
I might as well drop it if Jacob's on the hot spot. It's not no point not having a rod in the water, not thinking it would go, and you just said, "Oh, I'd be mad if you get one."
Mate, that's what's so weird. I said, imagine if you hooked one there and then
just saw the rod
and you
tip go
looked
like
and the rod tip was going.
This is the most awkward thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, boy.
That's a brace.
A brace, baby.
You've done my spotting, but I'm happy for you.
Pair of mega little Belgian canal mirrors. Not too bad. This time yesterday I was pulling my hair, I had not caught anything, and now I've had 3 fish. and the world is a much better place.
Yeah, you're starting to turn the tide, mate.
Too right.
I'm struggling now.
Nah, I think we've got 2 more fish in this time I've kept. So.
I reckon 3 or 4, mate. I reckon I'm going to go out with a bang.
Yeah,
Lovely little carp, isn't it?
They're cool ones. You can imagine when they're got another 20 pound on them, they're going to look sick, aren't they?
I think you did get a little bit unlucky there, mate, because some of them ones we saw a couple of mid-30s, didn't we?
Yeah, they are definitely.
They were the smaller ones of the ones we saw, but
Catch a good tonight.
yeah, we'll get the big ones later. Let's have a look at the bottom one. Another cool little scaly one.
This one's missing. Oh.
One peck.
Yeah.
We'll name him the One Pecker.
Pecky one peck.
With that, we got the rest of our stuff out the van and set up for the night. Providing the carp stayed at this end of the stretch, this could be the perfect ending. We also got some rods out on the top stretch too, the one with a 50-pounder in from the first few nights. You never know. Come on, the carp gods. Anyway, we're just going to have a quick scran, and the next time we see you, one of us is going to be bog-eyed, half asleep, with a rod bent in double, playing a massive canal carp. What do you reckon, Henry?
Oh yeah, I hope
in
it's
3,
me.
2, 1.
See ya.
Yeah, we can lose the dramatic music, as it just turned out to be a £12 common.
Wee.
Way.
Sick.
£12 common, soaking wet, woohoo. Oh, hang on, dramatic music. Someone's on the hot spot. It's not a bream, mate, it was absolutely peeling off. Absolutely ripping off she was. Come on, you deserve a bigger now. For the amount of big ones we saw. That spot's smashing it up, isn't it? Nothing on the old steps, mate. Must have them PVA hooks on. Same mirror, innit? You've had that 3 times. With Henry's lovely mirror safely retained, it was finally my turn for some action.
I don't think it's very big.
Good morning.
You're right.
What was I saying last night, Henry? When I wake up, I always feel absolutely fine.
Yeah, I'm instantly awake.
Well, I've had 2 hours sleep, so I don't feel great now.
Every
But
night.
my rod's ripped off on the old shelf.
Go on, the boy.
It's obviously a daytime spot.
I'd just seen them. You see all this fizzing here?
It was like, what, they were...
I'd just seen them starting fizzing. I thought, oh, we might have another chance here.
What, did you see them come on the shelf?
I didn't see them come on the shelf. I just saw them fizzing in the middle here.
Oh. Oh. Go on. Got to leave in about an hour, so good timing that, innit?
Ooh, it's got some scales, this one.
Some scales. Although no monster, it was just nice to end the trip with a carp each. Ready?
Yeah.
Still behaving?
Just about.
There we go. Final night. No, not the big uns that we came here for, but it's been nice to get a few bites. We've not really had much of a social in terms of bites, so it was nice for Henry to have 3 or 4 runs, didn't you, last night?
I think so, 4, yeah.
Yeah. 4 fish.
Nothing massive, but these are all the older shipping canal strain that have gotten here over the years, spawned on. Cool stories to them, and when they're 30, 40 pounds, they do look really, really cool.
Mental.
Yeah.
Well, we've just planned another trip because we've enjoyed it so much, so I hope you've enjoyed this one. Trip to Belgium on the canals, and next week we're off to France for the big dogs.
Yeah, come on.
Let's go, mate.
Nice work. Well done.